Welcome to Draves Archery, dravesarchery.com. What I'm going to show you here today, guys, is how to properly install a peep sight and how to tie a peep sight in. There's a lot of different ways you can do this, but if you're at home and you got a peep sight and you want to change it or do something different with it, it may take a secondary hand, just something simple, and which Lindsay here is going to assist me. But I have a PSE Chaos. It's a split limb bow. Any single cam bow. Not every one of them will quite work as easy as this one here will, but most of them will. What we're going to show you here is how to make a couple of simple little adjustments to start with. And what we're going to do is, for starters, we've got to be able to get this peep sight into the string. Right here, we're just going to take like a 1/4 inch style peep. This is a rad peep. It's split on both sides. These are my favorite style peeps, sold right here through us at dravesarchery.com. So I got a peep sight, a piece of bright pink string here, and the reason why I did bright pink is so it would show up a little bit better. So we're going to put a bright pink string on here, and I have a simple Allen wrench, and I'm going to show you how we're going to be able to do this. There's two ways you can do this. For starters, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Lindsay come around here on the back side with me for just a second, and like I said, there's two ways you can do this. If you look at the string's got several twists to it. So you can't just take your fingers and stick it in here and spread this string apart. And the reason for that is because of the twist in the string. The last thing you want to do is shove a sharp object into the string and try to separate it. Even a pin cap or something like that there isn't always a great idea. So we've got to get the string separated, equal amounts of strands on both sides, and then we can put in the peep sight. So there's two ways that we can do this. We can either draw this bow back whenever it hits the let off. Now what that's going to do is now we've got 70% of the weight taken off of this, or 75–80% of the weight taken off of the string. So now Lindsay can either come around here and maybe separate this guy, but this is a youth style bow, so we're not going to have as good a chance of doing it with a larger bow on a 70-pound bow. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the old-fashioned sheet system. This here is a PSE Chaos, like I said, with an NRG cam. Any PSE bow out there, guys, with NRG cam, whether it be an older style Brute, an older style Stinger, or the Chaoses, they put this NRG cam on a couple of their other bows. I can't remember exactly all the names of them right now, but almost every single cam bow, guys, there's holes throughout your cam, and a lot of that's just to reduce weight. But as long as you find a good solid hole, what that's going to allow us to do is going to allow us to take this wrench and drop this wrench through that hole. Now what we're going to want to do is make sure that this wrench goes completely through this here so it hits both sides of the limb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw this bow back just a little bit, and Lindsay's going to drop this wrench through this hole on the back side. So what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to put some pressure here. Now guys, not all these bows work this way, but like I said, most of them will. And if you're super careful with it and you put it in the right place, you're not going to damage a cam, you're not going to have to need a press or anything else. Now what I'm going to come up here to the string, and I'm going to separate this string until I get equal strands on both sides. You can count them. All these bows are a little different. I've literally done enough of these where I can just say, hey, you know, I've got the same amount of strands on this one as high as I do that side, which here I look really, really close to. Okay, we're going to take the peep sight. We're going to set the peep sight in the slot. It doesn't matter where we set the peep sight. Okay, the peep sight's in the slot, the groove's there. Now I've got a little bit of pressure still held against this. Now here's the real beauty of this, guys. I'm going to take the bow. I've still got pressure on the string. I'm going to flip this bow over. Everything's good and straight. I'm going to pull it back just a little bit, and the Allen wrench just falls right out. Now I have the peep sight in my string. So what I can do with it here is I can take this and I can slide him up or down. So whenever I get this drawn back, everything's going to come through and I can see through the peep. Okay. Now here comes the fun part, guys. It doesn't matter whether you're serving in a peep sight or serving in string silencers, or even if you was going to do center serving. This is how I do all of my servings and how I start them. Okay, piece of bright pink string. What we're going to do is we're going to take one end of the string and we're going to give ourselves, about 6 inches, something like that. And I normally start from the top and go from the top side and loop around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to kind of just start him fairly close, and let's say this is where our peep sight's going to sit. I'm going to start him fairly close to where this piece is, because I'm going to bring it down some, and I'm going to give him 6 wraps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, I've got both strings coming off. This is the long one. Here's still my end. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 strings and I'm going to pull them so that this is tight. And I'm going to kind of work this back and forth just a little bit. Okay, now both of these strings are tight, which means all my loops are tight. I'm going to take my thumb here and I'm going to push this down so I have all these tight against each other. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my index finger, my pointer finger, and I'm going to hold it against this knot, which is going to make it kind of hard for you to see. I'll try holding it here on the bottom side. So now my loops can't go anywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy and I'm just going to lay him over here. So he's pointing this direction. I'm going to take my short tail and I'm going to lay my short tail down along this string. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my long one and I'm going to wrap it over top of the pigtail, is what we call it. 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now I have wrapped it over top 6 times. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to pull it tight. Still got my long tail. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pigtail and I'm going to wrap the pigtail and lay him going back the opposite direction again. So coming from here, lay it back the opposite direction, and I'm going to go 6 more wraps. 1, 2, 3. Now as this piece is starting to separate and get wider, we're going to pull him tight on 3. Okay, just hold tension against it. 1, 2, 3. So now we've got 6 full wraps. 6 wraps in, 6 wraps over, laid it back across, and 6 more wraps. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, kind of like sewing a pair of jeans or something, and we're going to shove the end through the eye. And we're just going to do this here. Now there's no real set number depending on how big your peep sight is. So there's 1 loop. Here is 2 loops. 3 loops. 4 loops. Now I'm coming across on the other side of the peep sight. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this one here tight. And you can see how I just sucked that guy up underneath the peep sight itself. 5 loops. 6 loops. 7 loops. Now we got the same amount on each side as what we started. So that gives me a real nice consistency of looping. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of give this guy a couple of loops underneath. We're going to keep the string moving in the same direction. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 to make sure you keep this on the back side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my hand here and I'm going to kind of pull these tight. I don't know if you can watch this or not, but you can just kind of see these guys sucking in there nice and tight. 1, so we got 3 in, 4, 5, 6. So now I've got 6 full loops on the bottom side of this peep. Here comes the part where a lot of people get confused on. So we got the 6 loops, guys. We're gonna keep everything going in the same direction. We're gonna take 2 fingers, we're gonna lay them down here, and we're gonna keep this going in the same exact direction from the underneath side to over top. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the pigtail and we're gonna bring the pigtail through this loop that I created. So I'm gonna bring it through the loop. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 full loops. Okay, so now I've got 6 loops sitting on the inside of this big loop that I created. I'm going to take this pigtail, what I call a pigtail, the leftover strand, and I'm going to lay him back across where we started. We're going to go back the opposite direction. Now I'm just going to kind of hold him. As I unwrap this side, I wrap it on the opposite side. So I'm going to bring my loop around. There's 1 loop, 2 loops, 3 loops, 4 loops, 5 loops. Okay, so now we've got our 6th loop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this pigtail, and if you can see it here, we're going to take this pigtail and we're going to pull this pigtail. Now guys, as I'm pulling the end of this pigtail, I'm actually pulling it underneath of these other loops. I don't know if you can see this. I'm doing this in slow motion here for you. You can watch this rope suck through underneath the bottom side. So just go ahead and pull that guy until she snugs up. Okay, we're back to the same Allen wrench that we had earlier. I'm going to take this Allen wrench. I'm just going to wrap it around the string about 5 or 7 times. It doesn't matter, wherever you feel comfortable with. And I'm going to kind of use this wrench as a handle. I'm going to take this guy and I'm just going to pull him so that he looks like he's nice and snug. You don't have to get real wild and crazy with it. Pull it nice and tight. As this here pigtail pulls, the tighter that pulls, it makes them ropes wrap around it and suck itself nice and tight. So this bottom part of this guy is almost complete. We're going to take the top part of the pigtail. We're going to wrap him around the Allen wrench 5-6 times. And we're going to do the same thing with it. We're going to kind of just pull him nice and snug. You can see how that just sucked that nice and tight in there. Now I've still got these 2 pigtails left. What I'm going to do is take my knife. I'm going to leave myself just a little bit, lift the blade up at an outward motion so you don't get into your string. And I'm just going to slice this. So you can see I left a little piece there. I'm going to do the same thing down here on the bottom. So now these are my 2 pieces of the string that I have left over. We're almost complete. The only other thing I forgot to mention here is we just need a lighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lighter and I'm going to put it on the top side. Always make sure you're never lighting anything from the bottom side of the string. Put it on the top side. Melt that guy down so he creates a little ball, and just kind of take your thumb and quick pop it. If you leave it sitting real long, you will burn yourself. Once again on the bottom, smash it in. Guys, there's no way this peep sight's going to come out of here. It's clean, it looks good, both ends are tied. There's no actual true knot tied in this peep sight at all. It's all tied through itself and over itself and under itself. And the tighter you pull the string, the harder the knot gets because it's done within itself. It's a real simple solution, guys. You know, you should be able to take this video and watch it. Like I said, you should be able to watch this video, and whether you're doing a peep sight or you're going to do string silencers, or even to do a center serving and you didn't have a spool and you had enough center serving to do it, you would still start both ends the same way, do your system tight, and finish it the same way I just finished that. If you have any questions, guys, at all, if you need a peep sight, one of these peep sights, or you need D-loops or a kiss button or anything at all, guys, you can purchase everything here straight through us at DravesArchery.com. Hopefully I gave you a quick, simple solution as to how to tie a peep sight. If you guys have any questions about anything like that there and you can't find a video on it, how to fix something, how to maintain something, feel free, send us a message and we'll see if we can't make you a video to help you out with any other problems you may have. Thanks for shopping at DravesArchery.com.